Subbed or dubbed? The question is old as time itself. But don't worry, I'm here to give you an answer. And the answer is, drumroll please.
It depends.
It honestly does, whether it's anime, television shows, or even video games. But now, let's start with the most famous use of dubs.
21 minutes until I gotta go, so I told that girl.
Right in front of your house. I wasn't looking or anything. I just happened to be walking by. It'd be creepy to know where you live. Stupid. What was I walking by for? Okay! I had to give you something! Listen, don't get the wrong idea. I was just up at 4 a.m. cooking, like schoolgirls do, and it happened to be your favorite, and I thought maybe you'd like some since I had extra. Be grateful! Aha! How did I know it was your favorite?
As someone who started consuming anime at the good old age of 19, and yes, it was SAO as it's tradition for every anime consumer, and yes, it was 2020.
Coronavirus!
I know, I'm way back in the anime craze, but I'm slowly catching up, and I've recently been consuming some bangers like Spy Multiplied by Family, My Dress Up Fan Service, Kakegurui Mid, and finally, Komi Can't Communicate. We don't disrespect Miss Komi around here, so you know my taste is quite exquisite and the best of the best. Now, going back on topic, so for anime, well, you can't really go wrong with subbed. Don't fight me, let me explain. Anime has always been kind of a gamble on what you can get when you listen to the dubbed version. You can get Death Note quality or something that just sounds disjointed and can just pull you from the experience. Not necessarily bad, but just lacking that punch offered by the Japanese voice actors. From the tone to even the wording, it can just throw you off for a bit, and let's not even touch on the monstrosity that is the 4Kids dubbed version over there. That deserves a documentary well on its own. Now, in defense of dub, which the only point that makes sense to me is maybe that you want to listen to the anime and throw a quick glance here and there while you're doing something else. Let's say maybe you're watching a dope anime and maybe you want to use your phone for a bit, maybe replying to texts or just stalking that one ex. You know, the usual stuff. Don't you usually just hate it when you look down and boom, the subtitle just passed and you have to replay that part again? Now repeat this for every time you take a look at your phone, since most of us don't want to pause just cause we usually assume it's going to be like, oh, it's just a quick glance for like 5 seconds, and you end up just scrolling Twitter, scrolling YouTube, scrolling Instagram, and you pass by like 20 minutes or something. But with dubs, you can't miss a beat because you're actively understanding what's going on, and if you hear something cool is about to happen, you literally cannot miss it. Now this is the only way I can actually defend dub, but believe me, if the dub is garbage, I will actually rather stick with the sub and pause for every time I look away from the anime. Man, no wonder these weebs want to learn Japanese. They already knew the struggle. So yeah, if you like the dub anime, you probably can't multitask watching the anime and reading the subs at the same time, which is understandable, but you're missing a lot in terms of the raw emotion and the type of vibe you just get from hearing the original Japanese audio and not some big company hiring some English speaking dude, and for me it just ruins the immersion. But once again, there are exceptions. Now on to number 2, television shows. Now, you may think I'm going to talk about Squid Game and how the dub was so ass, but no. I mean, it does contribute to the conversation, but there are more shows out there. Let me open your eyes for a bit. Now, I'm mainly going to talk about 2 shows, Money Heist and Alice in Borderland, which are some banger shows, and I will highly recommend you give it a watch. But let me give you a brief rundown on what each show is about. Money Heist, also known as La Casa de Papel, is a Netflix original show released all the way in 2017. The show centers around a man called the Professor who rounds up a group of criminals in order to pull off the biggest heist in Spain's history on the Royal Bank of Spain. Now, if that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will, but it's a pretty good show. Now, Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland is based on a manga, which I actually didn't read. It's not my thing at the time, but now I actually like manga. Now, Alice in Borderland is kind of weird to explain without giving spoilers, so let me allow Google to give you an explanation. Take it away, Google-san.
Based on the manga of the same name by Haro Aso, Alice in Borderland is a dystopian sci-fi series where survivors of an apocalyptic event are forced to play games. Win and you get a few more days. Lose and it's your life. Think of it as live-action anime Squid Game that was released a full year before the Korean hit.
Thank you, Mr. Google. So that's it for the explanations, and the shows are Mexican and Japanese respectively. So once again, we arrive at our question, sub or dub? And once again, I would honestly go for sub, cause let's look at it like this. For anime, you can see through a dub session and it can really go well with the anime, but oh man, television shows are a whole different story. Let me explain. So I remember watching Money Heist with the English dub, and oh my god, hearing this man talk was so grating and it felt so off. It would be better if I just show you. Look at your screen. Look at this man. How do you think he would sound? You expect something firm and smooth but with a hint of comfort, right? Well, that's what you get with the sub, but with the dub, it just feels off. Have a listen.
Cities, use cities.
It's cities. You read that?
Great.
Y quiero que siga siendo así. No quiero nada de nombres, ni preguntas personales, ni por supuesto relaciones personales.
Now, not every character is voiced like that because there are characters with awesome dub voices, but I remember that this is what did it for me, because I remember I had my Netflix cut off and I wanted to watch the show so bad, literally so bad, and I had to look for alternative methods, and I could only get the dub for some reason on those alternative means. It was so grating after starting with the sub that I just had to pause because of the subscription being cut off, and I just had to get the subscription again. I literally had to. I had to pay Netflix just to get the better experience of subbed. Can you believe that? Oh man, just thinking about that, literally getting a subscription out of me. You really deserve a medal for that. So yeah, sub once again takes it for the win. If you don't believe me, go try watching a show in sub and switch to dub after a few episodes. I swear you'll get what I mean. And finally, for the last bit, video games. Now, this is a weird section to add for the video, like video games. How does that come into play? Like, most people play dubbed, and so I've actually stumbled on a few people who play subbed games, like whichever Japanese version, and then you just play like Japanese dubbed with English subbed. I don't know how to explain it. It's quite weird too, but people do it for some reason and it doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, dubbed is the winner here. No debate about it. I literally don't understand how someone can play Japanese dubbed and English sub. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. So yeah, that's it for the video. I just wanted to talk a bit about this topic because it's a pretty interesting one. I don't know, you can tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you like subbed more? Do you like dubbed more? Do you play your games in subbed for some reason? I don't know. You can tell me that in the comments down below. You can like the video, subscribe, and check out my socials, my Twitter, my Instagram. Yeah, I don't have an Instagram, but yeah, you can just check out my socials. You can like, subscribe, and I hope you like the video. I enjoy making them, and see you soon. Goodbye.